Hello and welcome. This is Melanie Ohlenberg from the Inner Arts Collective, and I'm very excited to be speaking today with Chuck Stratton and Sandy Masse of the Heron Walk Healing Center. Hello, Chuck and Sandy.
Hello, Melanie. Nice to be talking with you.
Nice to be speaking with you too. So Chuck and Sandy, before we get started, I'd love to just do a land acknowledgement. Where are you guys situated right now? I'm speaking from Toronto.
We're down in Elgin County, which is on the shore of Lake Erie. And it's very beautiful down here, rolling hills, farmland, woods and streams. It's just beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful. So here in Toronto, we acknowledge that we're on traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And it's now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis people. Do you have a land acknowledgement for your area? Is it similar?
We have actually nearby, we have the Oneida Reserve, which the Oneida are famous as healers, which is nice, and we have interacted with them as healers. They do a lot of work in London, which is our closest city, although it's a little bit of ways. And so we have connections there where they honor the healers that are not Indigenous and share their teachings and want to hear ours. So it's a wonderful relationship.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So to get started, would you mind describing a little bit about yourselves, your experience, your lineage, and your path in service?
You go first.
You go first?
Yep.
Okay, I'll go first. Well, I'm Chuck, of course. This whole journey for me started back in, well, it's been going on for a long time, but what would you say? I denied it for several years, and because I denied it, I ended up with cancer. And the cancer brought me into a state of, I have to do something about this. Like I spoke with the cancer, and the cancer said, look, if you don't do something, if you don't change your life, you're going to die. So I decided I would change my life, and the decision to walk in the woods for 5 months, that was actually my first vision quest, was walking in the woods for 5 months, every day for 8 hours. In that 8 hours, near the end of it, I had a vision of what was going to happen in my life. And through this vision, I decided that whoever called to me, I would go and see them. So I went to many different healers at the time, and a friend of mine said, we have to go to Tom Brown Jr. And I went to Tom Brown Jr., and that's kind of shaped my life ever since then through the teachings of Grandfather Stalking Wolf. And that's what's brought me to where I am today.
Journey was also a life crisis. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for a long time, and basically in my mid-50s, God slapped me alongside the head is the best way I can describe it. And I had to change, and the path was laid out in front of me. There was no doubt about the things I had to do and move forward. It was just laid out. And so at that time I met Chuck, and the teachings that he provided for me basically saved my life.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Can't hear you.
Sorry.
Can you...
I was quiet. I was just saying that's amazing, but I said it quite quietly. Thank you for sharing, you guys. So I know you've been on this path now for how many years? The path of the healer?
Oh, I started in wow, there's a story all around that, but I started in 1991 as an energy healer.
Okay,
And I was 1998.
right. Yeah, so many years of experience between the two of you. And you practice many modalities. What kinds of things do you practice? I know about the Vision Quest piece, and we're going to be focusing a lot on that. But just as some background information for our listeners, what are some of the other modalities that you've fallen into?
Well, I started with therapeutic touch, and then I went to a form of Western Reiki, which Sandy taught me.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. And then I went through all of Tom Brown's healing work, and I've done Jikiden Reiki, which is Reiki directly from Japan. I've done a type of Apache healing through Grandfather's teachings. We've done many vision quests. Oh my goodness. We do a technique called zone technique. And it's not that you just take one modality and work with it. They all eventually integrate within you, and then you're working with all the modalities. So, did I miss any?
No, I'm pretty much the same. Have done mostly all the same ones. I have one extra, which is Huna healing from Hawaii. But we're both really curious about these ways that energy moves and influences and heals. And so when we hear of a new one, we want to learn all about it. But then we find that the basics are just so similar that it's just someone has put a new spin on it through their own experience, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, another thing I do, I teach Tai Chi, which I find is very healing. I teach it as a martial art. And if you're doing Tai Chi, it's called Tai Chi Chuan. So Tai Chi means movement and Chuan means fist. So if you're just doing the movement, you only got half of the healing. And if you're only doing the martial, you only got half of it. So it has to be an integrated whole system. And I find, well, personally, I've grown an inch taller just by doing Tai Chi in a good way.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, between the two of you, you have such a wealth of experience, both lived experience as well as experience as healers. And I can only imagine how much you've learned through each other and also through your clients.
Well, I've learned more from Sandy than probably any of my teachers, because we're together every day and we talk every day, and she pushes my button and I push her button.
And I would say ditto.
Yeah.
For that. Yeah. We made a commitment to not back away from issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't. And, we have to be gentle with each other, but we don't hide.
Yeah. I really feel that from you. You really, from the first day that we met, I've always felt you have a really strong commitment and union with each other. Yeah. Yeah. So I was wondering, because I'd really love to zone in on your experience with Vision Quests. And can you guys describe your first experience with the Vision Quest and how the role that played in terms of milestones in your own journey, transformation, and choices?
Well, yes, I can start by, after I got cancer, I lost my eye to the cancer. And in that process, I went to Tom Brown, and at Tom's school, there was a whole section of the first class about Vision Quest. And it's just like, I thought at the beginning, it's like, well, that'd be pretty cool to do. And then I actually got home and I went, wow, Yeah, I don't want to do that. And then when spirit directs you to do something, it's you can't just ignore it. So I ignored it for a year or two, but it kept pounding away on me. You know, you really have to do this. No. Yeah. You have to really do this. No. I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit in the woods for 4 days. Come on, what are you talking about? No. I'm not doing that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So eventually I did. And it's life-changing, absolutely life-changing. I found I went into the first quest with a lot of trepidation. I was terrified, and it was so easy. It was just so easy. And then from there, they just continued on. I think I've done 6 quests now. So 6 full 4-day quests, and lots of shorter quests as well.
And a 42-day one too.
On a 42-day quest as well. In Montana, in the mountains. Woo!
Wow.
For me, it was a little bit different. Chuck was sharing the teachings of Grandfather with me, and he introduced me to one of his tracker friends who lives fairly close, and she had come down to visit in this neighborhood. And I met her, and she talked about what the vision quest had meant in her life, and she'd been leading quests, protecting quests for quite a long time. And it stirred something inside me and opened a vision for me. And I just knew at that moment that I had to do that. So I went running to Chuck and said, how do I become a protector of quests? He says, well, you have to quest first. And so I said, okay, how do I do that? And so he was already a protector. And so he and a friend set up a quest with some other people, and I quested for the first time. And the interesting thing about that was I was not a woodsy person. I had never really been camping. I was a city girl. And to go out in the woods and surrender to that wildness broke something open in me. It just shattered who I thought I was, and I became something new. And it was amazing. And then 2 months later, I drove all by myself down to New Jersey to learn to be a protector. Wow. And yeah, and since then we've trained other protectors because we took the teachings to do that, and we just keep protecting quests.
Beautiful. My goodness. What were some of the big milestones for you, Chuck? You said it was easy, but how was that first vision quest substantial for you, or a milestone for you in your journey?
In the vision quest, you go into the vision quest, like the 4-day full quest, with a bunch of questions. And all of the questions got answered for me. That was the big thing. Now, of course, I didn't act on all of the answers right away, but I did eventually act on all of the answers that I got. The big thing about the vision quest is not to rush home and make big changes right away, because you're given your birthright in your first vision quest, and I felt like I got that. Because in our society, we're not taught about our birthright. We're not taught about anything other than work, sleep, eat, go to work, sleep, eat, and drink some booze and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
So you really received that that purpose.
Yes. Yes.
And all your questions were answered, and that was really substantial for you.
Well, and it also set the tone for my spiritual growth as well. The vision quest is used to change something in your life, to find out what you actually need in your life. And I found it, and I found it in the subsequent quests that I did after that as well.
Yeah. And I find it fascinating, Sandy, you had gone into your first quest knowing that you wanted to be a protector. And so your first step in was actually this resonance with being a protector or a leader of quests. And then right after your first one, you started wanting to get that training. You just jumped in.
Yep.
How did you come to decide, Chuck, your decision to be a protector? How did that unfold for you?
That was just a given.
Mm.
I think I was a born teacher. So when I found out about the quest, I did the quest, and then I found out from one of Tom's students that he taught protection in Grandfather's lineage. And it's just like, okay, because I want to protect quest. I want to help people go out on the land and find their birthright. And that's what's driven me ever since like 1998, is that to help people find out who they are. We don't know who we are. We have no idea. We're this go to work thing. No, we're not. So that's really the goal of my life, is to help people understand who they are. There's so much more to this. There's so much more.
Sandy, did you have anything to add?
Well, just that Chuck and I have been together now for 15 years, and basically we walk hand in hand towards that vision, and we share it and work towards it.
Beautiful. So you guys have both spoken of Tom Brown Jr. and Grandfather Stalking Wolf. Would you mind taking a moment just to honor this lineage and introduce our listeners to who is Grandfather Stalking Wolf? Who is Tom Brown Jr.?
Have a couple of hours. Grandfather Stalking Wolf was a Lipan Apache. And by the time he was 20 years old, in his community, Grandfather was all things of the community. He was a shaman, he was a healer, he was a tracker, he did it all by the time he was 20 years old. And around that time, he had a vision. A spirit came to him and said, you must wander for the next 60 years. So he wandered the wilderness from Alaska to deep into South America, and from coast to coast in the United States and Canada, many times on foot. He did all of this on foot. He was still in the era where there were no cars. Grandfather was still afraid of us, white people. So he traveled and he did all of this stuff for 60 years. Grandfather talked to every traditional people, to every country people. He talked to the Chinese, the Japanese, he just talked to everybody. And he found all of these ceremonies that they do all over the world. Vision quest, they do pipe ceremonies, they do sweat lodge, they do all kinds of different ceremonies all over the world. And he talked to all of the peoples of the world to find out what these ceremonies were and how they did them. And then he took all of that information to the wilderness, and he distilled out, I say it's like he put it in a centrifuge, and he distilled out all tradition, all ideas of every nation, of every country. And he distilled all of that out and made pure ceremony for everyone. This is not, what we teach is not through, or it's, what's the word? It's no tradition of any peoples. It is pure ceremony distilled down by grandfather to its pure essence in the spiritual sense. So therefore, we don't teach from any tradition. We teach from grandfather, and not from the Apache lineage. We teach from grandfather's lineage. Grandfather believed that anybody that learned his teachings became part of his lineage. When he was 83 years old, he was going home to die. He was actually going to kill himself because he did not believe that he had accomplished his goal that the Spirit had sent him out to do. And he was going home, and he went back to the place where he saw the Spirit in the beginning, and the Spirit just put his hand out and said, pointed. And when the Spirit pointed, he heard the call of a coyote. And when he looked up, he saw a white coyote, and that white coyote turned out to be Tom Brown Jr. So grandfather taught Tom what he had learned over 60 years of asceticism. And it had nothing to do with, any one given community. It was directly from Spirit. And he taught Tom for 10 years. And then Tom taught John Young and Malcolm Ringwald and Tom Frank and all of my teachers. So that's the lineage, a very condensed version of the lineage of Grandfather Stalking Wolf.
I'd like to add something to that too, in that with grandfather and with Tom, as he expounds on grandfather's teachings, it's also a matter of following your inner rightness that comes from Creator.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that makes it not a cultural tradition, because we have to follow that rightness, that Tom calls it inner vision.
So from what I took from all of the teachings, like I've had over 100 one-week-long classes within grandfather's lineage. And in every class, it's about follow your heart. And it's not the heart that we carry in the brain. It's the heart that's connected to Creator and creation.
Wow. Thank you. And I really respect and honor the teachers before you. I'm really grateful for the commitment that you put forward to learn so diligently from this lineage, and then bring it forward to others as well, so that they can continue on their path in right relationship. I understand, like, you've created the 7 levels of quest program.
I need to correct you that we
Yeah.
did not create it. This is created from grandfather's lineage. The vision quest is the mother of all quests, but the other 6 quests come out of the vision quest. If you vision quest enough, you will find all of these other quests in there. It's just that these other quests are used to bring the vision quest into everyday life, into every step you take, into every breath you take. That's what the 7 levels is about. It was created it was created by Malcolm Ringwald. He's quested like 50 or 60 times, and he found all of this within the quest through Tom's promptings.
I see. So
And these aren't things that you'll find in any book. They're not available in books.
yeah, it's an oral tradition. And
No, it's an experiential tradition. Malcolm experienced it through Tom's promptings. When Tom taught Malcolm, it was like 3 words, and then you had to figure out what it all meant. It might take you months or years to find out what those 3 words mean.
Mom's a big believer in dirt time, which means lots and lots and lots of practice.
Wow. So how would you describe the 7 levels of Quest program? Like, it starts with the Vision Quest, but if somebody were to come and attend your 7 levels of Quest program, what are some of the key aspects that
Well, we can, number one, there's no prerequisite. You can come from any life that you're living and take these. You do not have to do a Vision Quest. We will give you a mini experience of a Vision Quest during the 7 levels program. I'm going to just tell you the names. For a long time, they kept the names secret because they thought it would give people the wrong idea. But just recently, they've decided the world really needs these teachings, and we might as well just put it out there. So the first one, of course, is the Vision Quest, the mother of all of them. The second one is called the Power Quest. The third one is called, and this sounds...
We'll explain each one a little.
Okay, Power Quest is when you want to accomplish something, if you want to be a protector of Vision Quest. As a human being, you don't have enough to do that. You don't have enough energy, you don't have enough clarity, you don't have enough.
Power.
So you do a Power Quest so that the power of creation can come through you as a hollow bone to help you. And as a protector, I can tell you that I am supported 100%. I feel a river of strength under my feet. I feel my words are empowered. Everything just works because I have that support, and it's not me. It's coming through me. So that's the Power Quest.
Favorite thing they say in the Vision Quest, it's not about you as a protector. It's not about you.
The next one is the Death Quest, which is about clearing out personal blocks, emotional blocks. Very effective. I've used it because coming from a difficult marriage, I had lots and lots of baggage, and so did Chuck. And so we've used this constantly to clear away obstacles for our emotional growth.
So the whole idea, it's called the Death Quest because are you willing to die for this belief, untrue belief that you have? And this just helps us clear out the untrue beliefs that we have. That's why it's called the Death Quest.
The next one is the Silence Quest. And that's basically teaching people how to live every single moment of their life in silence, in stillness, in presence. It's the one in the middle. The first 3 will help you get there. The next 3 won't work unless you have it. Basically, it's fundamental to our spiritual growth. And so it's a big part there in the middle. It's the solidity. 5 is Spirit Quest. Most of us humans don't know our spirit at all. And so this quest, which is pushed towards the end of the week when people are open and ready to hear this, and we teach people how to connect with their spirit self, their higher self, and find out how that spirit self wants them to move and be in their life. You want to say anything about that one?
No.
And then, what am I at? Spirit is 5. 6 is Oneness Quest. And that's basically to begin to see in an experiential way that everything is a oneness. We are a oneness with all people. I'm Sandy, human being. Thank you very much. That's the basic. I am Sandy, eternal being. Thank you very much.
But I am Sandy, eternal being too.
Yeah. So there's
And you are Sandy, eternal being too. We're always just one. We're just one. It can't be anything else.
Well, by then they're wide open and ready to experience that, although it may not be solid in their life by then, but they'll have a good grounding in it. And then the last one is the final walk. And we talk about our life and our dying and how we are building towards this final moment throughout our life. And so part of that is the gift that we're leaving behind. We talk about that. And we also talk about how we're going to separate from this physical reality. So the last one is about that.
So what I don't think people realize that life is about death, but death is also about life. You can't live unless you're dying, and you can't die unless you've already lived. So interesting.
So this this program, the 7 Levels of Quest, is really it's furthering the teachings of Grandfather Stalking Wolf.
Yes.
They
And
are
that's
his teachings. Yeah.
they are his teachings, and they're not, like we say, they're not from any one tradition. These teachings all came directly from Spirit.
Mm. Mm. And like, how would you say the 7 Levels of Quest really helps people and supports people in navigating their life? Like, we're in a really complicated time right now, but even beyond COVID, there's so much struggle, you know, so much struggle and strife, and people go through so many different challenges in navigating their essence, their life, their role in this life. What role do you feel the 7 Levels of Quest plays in helping people navigate?
The 7 Levels of Quest, I believe that I lost my train of thought. But the first spiritual law is know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
The first spiritual law in our tradition is know thyself. And once you know yourself, like, I have a bit of a handle on that, and I don't see any of this as a struggle. I just see this as life. It's just, actually, I really enjoyed the first month and a half of shutdown because I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to get in my car and do something. But I think the 7 Levels of Quest helps you to live in the now moment, not in the future, because that's where a lot of this is coming from, is people living in the future, and it's not in the past, because more of it is coming from the past. We're remembering things that aren't true to start with, which we haven't remembered correctly in the first place, and then that's controlling our lives. So the 7 levels teaches you who you are. And once you know who you are and you can start listening to the promptings from the eternal or from God, that word might not go over very well around a lot of places, but Creator. Once we learn to listen to the promptings without getting this involved, then everything is just simple. There's no strife, there's no darkness, there's no light, there just isness.
When you stop living in fear and hatred, which this can help you get to that place, then life is peaceful. It just is. And there's no fear. There's no fear of anything because, well, number one, you know you're an eternal being. So why would you fear anything?
Mm-hmm. You know, I hear you. And also it's interesting because I feel almost like without participating in 7 Levels of Quest, it remains theoretical. It feels like in order to really drop down into what you're saying, commitment to this program is really what's needed, because you can talk about sitting in silence and surrendering fear and oneness, But until you feel it within your being as an ultimate truth and reality, it remains theoretical. It remains kind of a new age sort of we are one term that we can write essays and blogs about and, talk about and not live it. So I really respect the work that you're doing, and I hear what you're saying, and I also really respect how important it is for people to commit to the full journey of the program in order to really understand and deepen how they live those theories of oneness, of being in alignment with Creator, in being in complete peace with your path and yourself in the present moment in the world around you. When there's lots of stuff going on, which there is, it can be difficult to really synthesize into that piece and to really drop down into it and appreciate what you're saying. On your website, there's a quote that you have on your first page on the Heron Walk Healing Center website. Understanding who we truly are is a journey of lifetimes, not a lifetime journey. It's such a beautiful quote, you guys. I was wondering if you could take a moment to describe why you have that on your website, that it's a journey of lifetimes.
Well, one thing that, because we've just talked about what's going on in the world today, some of us come to this physical reality and we just live what's going on in the world and we don't progress, and that's fine. That's fine. But sometimes we get a kick in the pants or a slap on the head, and we decide to take a step. And so we move up. We find the teachers we need, and we move up into a higher vibration. And we don't spin down here, we come up here. And maybe we'll stay here for a while. And this is a long, long, long journey. Not sure if it ever ends, but I don't know that part of it. And it's fine. The people that want to stay here and completely understand fear, that's okay. That's part of their journey. Chuck and I just decided to do it differently and take a step.
This time.
Which doesn't mean we won't spin in the same circle for a while. So many lifetimes.
So our belief, I will talk about me. My belief is that we live and die, we live and die, we live and die. And we keep coming back to this dimension, like Sandy says, and we're going to spin one place for, who knows, maybe 4, 5, 6 lifetimes until we learn what we came here to learn. We sign a contract when we come here to learn something. And we're going to keep coming back until we've learned it. And then when we take that step, we move up to the next level. And now we've got to learn this stuff. So we may come back here 6 or 7 or 8 times. Who knows? We may do it the first lifetime. Who knows? But this is what I mean. And when we've reached a level, I believe we stop coming back here, but we never stop working. We're eternal beings. We just move to another dimension and start working all over again at a different vibration, at a different level. So that's why we put that on there. We put it on there to make people think.
And I just want to make clear that what we're experiencing in the world today, in every part of the world, not just here in North America, every part of the world, is the curriculum laid out by Spirit for us. So, thank you.
That's a really, I think that's a good way to look at things. I've certainly learned a great deal personally, collectively, like as a family, and feel like a lot has been exposed individually and collectively to work on. It's been, yeah, I really appreciate that. I do.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you.
There's no accident that we met you and you met us, Melanie.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel a real serendipity. Yeah, I'm filled with gratitude for you and our meeting and all the work that you do. If somebody wanted to connect with you and reach out to you about your services, your work, your 7 levels of quest, how would you recommend that they do that? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, they can go to our website, heronwalk.ca, HERONWALK.ca, or they can, that's probably the easiest way. There's Heron Walk also on Facebook.
Okay.
Any other ways? Do you want phone numbers or?
I'm happy to field text messages to 519-550-2736.
And we'll say that slowly. 519-550-2736.
We get a lot of that, people just asking questions.
Okay, that's great that you've made yourself available like that, like beyond the website that you're able to receive text. That's generous.
Yeah, there's also our email is Heron Walk Healing Center, and that's CENTRE at gmail.com.
Thank you. I think I often misspell that actually. That's been a long-term habit of mine. I don't know what that's about. Wonderful. So in closing, I just want to say thank you so much. I have deep gratitude to you, to the teachers before you, to Tom Brown Jr., to all of the other teachers in Grandfather Stalking Wolf's lineage, to Grandfather Stalking Wolf. And I have huge gratitude to Spirit for bringing us together, and really grateful for your work and all that you do.
Can I just say one more thing?
Of course.
I know this is backwards, but one people, many tribes.
I saw.
This is,
it's so perfect.
this is Grandfather's symbol.
Oh, is it?
So
Oh.
the triangle is the triangle of life, and then you have the roots. It's like a tree, correct? The roots are the many paths to the oneness, are the many paths to creator. There are many, many, many paths to creator. But once we reach the level where all the roots come together, it's a solo journey. You can't go to creator in a group. Once we've reached this level, we continue the walk alone. And how can we be alone when we're all one?
Right.
Think about that one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great day. And I look forward to continuing my journey with you as well and continuing to learn from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.